65 long days and still counting since Joe Biden broke his promise to the American people, abandon our fellow citizens, our friends, and their families, all behind enemy lines. And now breaking tonight, the State Department's Inspector General is launching multiple investigations into Joe Biden's botched withdrawal of Afghanistan. Now, many in the media, they have moved on. Joe Biden has turned the page. We are not doing the same. Now, the deep state always protects their own, not really counting that much on the investigation. Time will tell. We have much more on Biden's disastrous foreign policy throughout the show, including the fact that our own intelligence community had no idea and were totally, completely, and utterly shocked by the military might of China with their new hypersonic weapon. And we'll give you the details. But first, a message about Joe Biden and COVID-19. Unlike many in the media mob, we're not going to politicize a global pandemic. We're not going to try and score political points or use scare tactics or distort reality. As always, we try to give you the facts, encourage you to do your own research, take it seriously, consult with the scientific expert, look at your unique medical history, current condition, talk to your doctor and/or doctors, and also encourage you to draw your own conclusions based on an informed position. Not Joe Biden. Remember, in 2020, he used the global pandemic as a political wedge all through 2020. On the campaign trail, he promised he would beat the virus and get this virus under control. In case you forgot, we've got the videotape.
I'm never going to raise the white flag of surrender. We're going to beat this virus, and we're going to get it under control, I promise you.
All right, he was handed 3 vaccines, monoclonal antibody treatments, and over 353,000 people now have died in 2021. That is more than the number of people that died in 2020 when we knew far less about COVID-19 than we do now under Donald Trump. Now, if Donald Trump was in office, the coverage on fake news CNN, the 3 networks, MSDNC, they'd be apoplectic every single day. There would be, the COVID death counter, flashing across the screen all day long. How many people diagnosed? How many hospitalized? How many dead? How come they didn't do that when Joe Biden's president? More people, I'll say it again, have died this year in 2021 than died in 2020, and Joe Biden promised to get it under control. Despite the lack of hysteria, and of course, Joe is in the media mob protection program. Now, this is a disastrous statistic for someone that promised to beat COVID-19 and had 3 vaccines and therapeutics like monoclonal antibodies. But make no mistake, Biden takes zero responsibility. Instead, he likes to blame you. He loves to scold you, the American people. Then he likes to play Dr. Joe. And Dr. Joe, who only mentioned monoclonal antibodies for the first time, about 3 weeks ago? Like most liberals, he doesn't trust we, the American people. And then, by the way, we don't have a shortage of monoclonal antibodies, but he just decided to ration it because governors like Ron DeSantis set up these centers all throughout Florida because of breakthrough cases and for the unvaccinated. And apparently they're showing great results. And anyway, Joe clearly doesn't have the mental capacity for good decisions. So Joe and his liberal friends, they play political games. They virtue signal, they enact laws that they themselves ignore. In doing so, they actually create more vaccine hesitancy, not less. Just look at the subject of face masks, for example. Look at this weekend. Joe Biden, Dr. Jill Biden, literally bucked Washington, D.C.'s indoor mask mandate. They waltzed through a restaurant, totally mask-free. A few months prior, remember Joe Biden wearing a mask, socially distanced, fully vaccinated outside of Jimmy Carter's home. Then he goes inside the home of a 96-year-old former president, takes off the mask, and there's no social distancing so they can get pictures. Remember, it happened in New Jersey with Governor Phil Murphy. He enacted a mask mandate for young children and then partied hard at an indoor gala, not a mask in sight. Meanwhile, a few days ago, squad member Tlaib bragging that she only wears a mask when GOP trackers are present. That's the only reason she wears it. Take a look.
Thank you so much for coming out again. Appreciate it. Oh, my bad again. Sorry.
Oh, no. Oh, not you.
Oh, I thought you were like, oh, wait, he's the one unmasked guy.
Because I got a Republican tracker.
Oh, okay.
Now, this kind of mask hypocrisy has been going on for months. Remember when Nancy Pelosi, she got her mask-free haircut at that closed-down salon at the peak of COVID? Oh, how great. They opened just for her. Or Gavin Newsom attending a large dinner party at a restaurant. No masks, no social distancing. When many restaurants in California, they were closed for indoor dining, many going completely belly up, bankrupt. Or what about Lori Lightweight in Chicago attending a packed arena in Chicago completely maskless for a WNBA game? And thousands of other fans there as well. Now, the very same Democrats, they think the rules don't apply to them. They're the ones, though, busy trying to force all of you to get vaccinated. In Chicago, up to half of the city's police force, they may soon be forced to go on leave or retire if they don't comply with the city's vaccine mandate. Now the city of Chicago, they might actually deny benefits to officers that choose to retire, that are due this benefit. By the way, good luck, Chicago, with those lawsuits. Here's a simple, easy prediction. The city of Chicago, you will lose and lose badly in court. Otherwise, that would be called license stealing, because the cops who you're threatening to steal their pension from, they earned every penny of those pensions, and they will get them. But get this, Mayor Lori Lightweight is accusing unvaccinated officers of inciting, here it is, the Democrats' favorite word, an insurrection. Take a look.
The police unions are not authorized to strike. It's in their collective bargaining agreement, and it's a matter of state law. What we've seen from the Fraternal Order of Police, and particularly the leadership, is a lot of misinformation, a lot of half-truths, and frankly flat-out lies in order to induce an insurrection. And we're not having that.
Sadly, it's not only Chicago. Police departments all across the country, they are now mandating vaccines. One officer in Washington State had this message to Governor Inslee before signing off for the final time. Take a listen.
This is my final sign-off after 22 years of serving the citizens of the state of Washington, being asked to leave because I am dirty. I'd like to thank you guys. I'd like to thank the citizens of Yakima County, as well as my fellow officers within the Valley. Without you guys, I wouldn't have been very successful, and you've kept me safe and got me home to my family every night. Thank you for that. Wish I could say more, but this is it. So, State 1034, this is the last time you'll hear me in a state patrol car. And Jay Inslee can kiss my
All right. That sounds like the chant for Brandon. Anyway, in the early months of COVID-19, police officers, they didn't have the option of staying home, did they? They had no idea what the status, health status was of anybody they were coming into contact with, did they? Neither did members of our military that risked their lives for us. They had no idea either. Well, what about the doctors and nurses and first responders? Every single day, they worked in a petri dish of COVID. They were diving on COVID grenades to save lives every single day. And they all bravely went to work. They all bravely faced the threat of COVID-19 every single day. And many of them, they contracted COVID as a result of trying to save other people's lives. And those with natural immunity, they're now being vilified. They're now going to be fired from their jobs because they won't comply with Biden's mandate. I thought what they said was that if you got vaccinated, you were protecting yourself. Apparently not. What happened to Biden's promise to allow an alternative solution like testing unvaccinated workers instead of firing them? Now, Biden, of course, lying again. He did the same thing. You might remember 13 days before he abandoned Americans in Afghanistan. He said, we will stay till every American's out. They're still behind enemy lines 65 days later. In the middle of a labor shortage, now Americans are going to be forced from their jobs. We're going to lose thousands of nurses and teachers and U.S. servicemen and women and police officers. Over at ESPN, they have a reporter, sideline reporter, Allison Williams. She was forced to resign. Already in August, 4.3 million American workers have quit their jobs. Many are calling it the Great Resignation. And with Biden's vaccine mandates, that's about to get so much worse. Joe Biden, seemingly unconcerned. He has more important things to worry about, like walking and talking and getting to his afternoon nap. Every day is a struggle for him, and today was no different. We're one of the few in the media that dare point it out. Take a look.
I I tell you what, I would like to learn it. Just leave that, they'll come again.
It's Monday, Joe. Monday night. Now, that's the person who's supposed to lead us out of the shadow of a global pandemic. Buckle up. It will be a bumpy ride.